Alright, so this is my Cyber Dragon OTK slash control deck. Has a lot of OTK potentials in this deck, so that can happen a lot. But there's obviously control elements, so you get a balance of both aggro and control. So it's good to have either one, because you never know which way you need to go when you're dueling. You might need to go heavy control against an opponent, or you go straight aggro and just go in for the kill, right? Go in for a game. So obviously, let me explain the main strategy of the deck, and then I'll talk about the deck. The main strategy is to get Infinity. That was one of your elements of control. It's Cyber Dragon Infinity, which will let you negate monster, spell, or trap once per turn. Dawn Dragster is another option, and once per turn you can negate a spell or trap. And this card loses two levels every time it does that, and it gets 300 attack for each level. It starts off as a 2100 and then gets weaker and weaker every time it uses its effect. One of the things you want to do is obviously use its effect at least once, so you can become a 5-star machine, and then obviously get another 5-star machine field overlay, make Nova, use Nova to make Infinity, and now you have Infinity on the field. And then whenever you use Infinity's effect, detach Dragster so it goes to a grave, and then bring it back with Monster Reborn or Soul Charge later on, and that gives you an extra negate. Now you have Infinity to negate a spell, trap, or monster effect once per turn, and you'll have Dawn Dragster with the ability to negate a spell or trap once per turn. So more control, more negates, right? And then of course you want to go in for some OTK potentials with some of your strong fusion, Cyber Dragon fusions and OTK. So it's relatively simple, straightforward. So obviously 3 Cyber Dragons. If you control no monsters and your opponent does, you can special summon this card from your hand. And he's a 5-star machine, and he's the main monster of the deck. And then you have all these other clones, right? You got the Cyber Dragon Dre. Normal summon, it can become a level 5. It can make all your Cyber Dragons level 5. So if you have like a Cyber Dragon core on the field, and then you normal summon Cyber Dragon Dre will make himself a 5-star and make Cyber Dragon core 5-star. And there you can go into Nova, and Nova goes into Infinity. But now we got a new monster, which is Cyber Dragon Seeger. So you can link summon into this monster and be able to do some cool stuff with it. We got Speedboard Passing Rider. This is a budget option. You can go for Galaxy Soldier if you want. That's a good card. Obviously, but to each their own. This card is really good because it's a good first turn. Galaxy Soldier is a good first turn as well, but you gotta have enough cards in your hand to truly get that effect off. This card is just as good. It's good enough. It does what it needs to do, and again, it's a budget option. Plus, it's a 2200, so that sometimes does come in handy. It does matter. I was dueling somebody, and they put a lot of effort just to kill this thing. All I had was this on the field and like a Dark Bribe, and they got rid of my Dark Bribe, and all I had was on the field, and they put in a lot of effort. They created an Invoke Fusion or whatnot and just ran it over. It's like, okay, use up a lot of resources just to take down a 2200. The fact that it's a different attribute, it being a wind type instead of a light type, that might be relevant. It depends on monster. Under certain circumstances, that might be relevant. It depends. Again, it's more of a budget option. If I had, Galaxy Cyclone, not Galaxy Soldiers, I will use it. I remember I used to use Quick Draw Synchron I used to use that as a budget option. Another option is, especially for first turn play, because that's the thing, I need like a 5-star. I can special first, turn 1, special summon, then so I can normal summon Dre, right? It was Solar Windjammer. The thing about Solar Windjammer is that, it's a good card, don't get me wrong. Sometimes, if I top deck it, it only has 1,000 attack. It's not gonna, help me get back into the game, right? Help me turn the duel around. But this Speedboard passing rider is a 2200. It even has 2,000 defense, which is relatively good. But the 2200 is really nice, and it can come in handy, if I ever need it. Another thing is that what if my opponent has a Notorious Beast on the field? Special summon Cyber Dragon. Of course, I can Mega Fleet the Notorious Beast, but that's if it's in the EX zone. If it's not in the extra zone and it's in the main monster zone, then I won't be able to Mega Fleet it. So then I would have to, I would have to have something I could bunk heads with it. This being 2200 is useful against, taking down a beast if I need to. And as you can see, this deck is pretty spell heavy. It's at 16 spells, so those spells are important, right? So I might want to bring this out, take, attack into beast, and go from there. And that's only if I'm in a scenario where I can't just like special summon a Cyber Dragon and then go into a Mega Fleet. As I have this as a secondary option. Just something to point out. Being 2200 has its use, which is what I'm saying. Cyber Dragon Dre, of course, normal summon. All your Cyber Dragons become level 5. And that's mainly all I use it for, obviously, just so I can go into Nova. It counts as Cyber Dragon on the field in the graveyard, so it helps with fusion summoning and linked summoning. Konomali Golden Jet. It's a 4-star machine monster with the ability, once per turn you can increase the levels of all your Konomali monsters you currently control by 1 level, so you can make himself a 5-star. He's a light machine, so he's searchable, as well as I can go into Infinity, make Nova, go into Infinity. Cyber Dragon Core. Obviously, in the graveyard, I can banish it when I control no monsters, or my opponent does, and I can special summon a Cyber Dragon monster from my deck into the field. I can banish a core from my graveyard and summon a core from my deck, get its effect, and search out a emergency cyber from my deck to my hand, play it, get a Dre, right? Normal summon the Dre. Dre will become a 5-star. Cyber Dragon Core will become a 5-star. Overlay, go right into an Infinity play. Or if I want, I could just go into a Cyber Dragon Seeger Link play. The choice is mine. He's 5 stars, so combine him with Instant Fusion by bringing out Sea Monster of Theseus, which is a 5-star tuner fusion. 5 and 2 makes 7. 7 lets you go into a Black Rose play or into the FA Dawn Dragster, which is a very good play. And Dawn Dragster, of course, when you use it effect at least once, it'll become a 5-star, and it being a 5-star machine will be useful later on if I'm trying to go into Infinity. Instant Fusion will give me access to, obviously, Theseus, invoke a Raging if I want to do some control, interrupt strategy, have Infinity on the field, as well, wow, and have invoke Raging on the field at the same time, so I can, have some control effects. By putting my opponent's monsters face down, that makes it hard for them to link summon, synchro summon, exceed summoning. So, which are the most common types of summonings nowadays. Then Panzer Dragon, it's a 5-star machine, so of course this will help you go quick into an exceed play in case you have Instant Fusion in a Cyber Dragon Dre or a Konomali Golden Jet. You can do that, or if you got Speedboard Passing Rider, special summon him first turn, play Instant Fusion, get the Panzer, go into Nova, make infinity, right? So that's a simple first turn play right there. 1000 Eyes Restrict might, can help you break boards, play 1000 instant fusion, bring out 1000 Eyes, grab one of your opponent's monsters, then tribute for like a Cyber Dragon, and maybe you can use the Cyber Dragon to go into a Mega Fleet, to help you break boards. So it's always good for options. Also, the fact that you can infusion counts as official fusion summoning, therefore you can soul charge Monster Reborn it, the 1000 Eyes, and have it on the field, lock down your opponent from being able to flip their, move their monster battle position, and from being able to attack you, and stall long enough to draw into some combo pieces, into some resources, and take your opponent down. So that's another thing you can do with it, obviously. Dawn Dragster, already explained, it lets you control. Black Rose helps you clear the board. Not much to say there for that, right? Helps you clear boards. And of course you can modify, alter this deck a little bit, change it if you wanna add more special summoning abilities in case you're not feeling the red screen much. You can replace it with back to square one. Not back to square, back to the front. There you go. So there's the card. Back to the front. Target one monster in your graveyard, special summon in defense position. You could opt to play that, or because there's a good amount of control in this deck with Infinity and Dawn Dragster, you could, instead of playing Dark Bribe, maybe you want to keep the red screen, you can play it back to the front in replacement of the Dark Bribe. Other options would be like Grand Horn or Bottomless Travel. It's up to you, but for me, Recall, helps break boards. Dark Bribe can also help break boards, of course, but it can also help you slow your opponent down from being able to create board, or slow them down from being able to get huge card advantage, or just stop them from trying to stop you from stopping something, right? Also useful against stuff like Evening Match or something like that, or Dark Hole or Mirror Force, Boundless, Trenchal, things of that nature. You might want to stop it, so this comes in handy. And it's a counter trap, just like Recall is a counter trap, so it'd be harder for your opponent to chain and try to outplay these cards. Red screen, your opponent's monsters cannot attack, yours can. You lose 1000 during your end phase. Right? So it's a really good floodgate. MST, self-explanatory. It's an interrupt that lets you negate any, not negate, it lets you pop a Spark Trap. Because it's a quick play. Magical Mallet. There's a combo based deck. You wanna keep the consistency going. You wanna make sure that you don't draw the bad hands. You can always make your hands better, and sometimes you need to search for something. Emergency Cyber lets you add a Cyber Dragon monster or Light Machine monster that cannot be normal or set from your deck and add it to your hand. If the activation of this card in your possession is negated by an opponent's card, and this card is sent to your graveyard as a result of that, you can discard one card from your hand to add this card back to your hand. So one copy is more than enough. It's a good tech card. The fact that if it does get negated, you can always add it back to hand by discarding something. That way you can use it the following turn, since you can only activate one of these once per turn. So, and then it's searchable, of course, by Core's ability. Power Bond, you don't want to play Power Bond more than once, because that one time you play it, the duel should be over, right? Overload Fusion, you can do some really creative plays with this. I use a Power Bond so that I can go into a Nova and Infinity play, right? And then I've even done an Overload Fusion to make a Rampage Dragon, and then go into a Nova Infinity play. So you can come up with different ways to use this. Of course, you can special summon, like a Cyber Dragon, summon a Core, use Core's effect to search out, the Emergency Cyber, and then link summon into Cyber Dragon Seeger, then play Overload Fusion, banishing the the core and the Cyber Dragon that's currently in the grave now after you link summon right to bring out Rampage Dragon. Use Rampage Dragon to send 2 more cores from your deck to the graveyard. That's what I tend to do. You can do what you want, but that's what I tend to do. So that way I can use them later to, you know, banish and summon more Cyber Dragons for my deck. So that way I can thin out the deck and, you know, get more, you know, get some more resources. Gotta have a way to keep the deck going forward, right? Forward momentum, as it were. And then of course this will be 2100. They can attack 3 times now because you sent the 2 machine type monsters from your deck to the graveyard. And then because you got Seeger on the field, you enter battle, you activate Seeger's ability, so that way he doesn't attack that turn. That battle phase, right? And then you give 2100 attack to your Rampage Dragon, which makes him 4200, and now he's a 4200 that can attack 3 times. Attack, and right there you can deal your opponent, you know, over 12,000 points of damage, or over 9,000. So there's a strategy there. Obviously, there's a simple win condition right there. 3-card combo for game. I already mentioned about everything else in here, and that's the end of the video.